Hello, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be defining the starting point for performance measurement by considering an organisation's stakeholders and what they want from the business, hopefully encapsulated by the organisation's mission and subsequent strategic plans. Imagine you're the head of finance in an organisation. You just attended the board meeting where you agreed the business strategy. You would then use this to help you decide what our focus should be in terms of performance measurement. This will therefore inform what our information systems need to capture and monitor, and the overall targets that can be used as a basis for setting subsidiary targets and individual objectives. We're now going to step into that board meeting to look at how the decisions are made leading up to explicit business strategies. Not only is the head of finance responsible for helping execute that strategy, the head of finance also has a role to play in helping to define it in the first place. Let's start off by reminding ourselves of the stakeholders a business has and how the management of the business needs to prioritise those stakeholders' requirements in order to define the objectives of the organisation as a whole. Organisations have a long list of stakeholders, all wanting something different from the business. Employees, managers, customers, suppliers, shareholders, lenders, pressure groups, the local community, the government. It's a long list. They all want different things as well, and sometimes this can create conflicts among the stakeholder groups. For example, shareholders may want a higher dividend and employees may want a pay rise. Suppliers may like to be paid more for the goods they supply, and customers would prefer to pay less. All these put a strain on the organisation's resources, and it's unlikely they can all be optimised. Compromises need to be made and priorities need to be set. One key model from your earlier studies to help us do this is Mendelow's stakeholder map. This is useful to help us prioritise our stakeholders when making a big decision and/or setting the objectives or strategic direction of the business. Mendelow uses power and interest to prioritise the stakeholder groups. Those with high power and high interest should be given top priority. We should consult with these key players when setting organisational objectives or making a key decision. For example, in an owner-managed business, the owner would have high power and high interest, making their needs and objectives a high priority. However, although we might argue that the mailman is a stakeholder in the organisation to a degree, he will have very little interest in our business strategy and no power to influence it. These stakeholders can largely be ignored for this purpose, hence minimal effort. Those with low power but high interest still need to be kept on side to a degree, as they can stir up trouble and try to influence stakeholders with more power, hence keep informed. Finally, some stakeholders have lots of power but often little interest. For example, shareholders of listed companies could intervene in business decisions should they so wish, but so long as their personal objectives of creating wealth are satisfied, they probably wouldn't be interested, hence keep satisfied. Management can use the matrix to help them decide the overriding objectives of the business, and from this flows the organisation's mission. A well-worded mission statement should capture the purpose of an organisation. It should serve as a guiding light for decision-making in the organisation and communicate the values and priorities as well as objectives of the organisation. It should also serve to attract like-minded stakeholders, investors, customers, suppliers and employees, for example. Campbell et al. Say a mission statement should address 4 specific areas: strategy, purpose, people and behaviour standards, and values. If the mission is expressed precisely, then decision makers can use the mission statement to help them decide what to do next. It's the starting point for strategy formulation. However, unfortunately, all too often mission statements are a public relations exercise full of vague ideas that sound good to stakeholders but do not tie the organisation to a particular direction. This means in reality they are often ignored as they can't be used to help formulate strategy. Without a decent mission statement, the head of finance struggles to define what good performance is and hence struggles to measure performance and manage it. Let us suppose we have a well-worded mission statement. The organisation can then go on to plan its business strategy now it knows why the organisation is in existence. There is a continuum of strategy formulation models. The rational model is an example of detailed planning in advance. In reality, usually an organisation, when executing a rationally planned strategy, will incorporate emergent ideas into that strategy along the way. The environment changes, so the initial plan cannot anticipate all eventualities. Neither can the planners come up with all their good ideas at the planning phase. The new ideas that are incorporated are known as emergent strategies, and along with the initial plan, and maybe some ideas that were disregarded in the event, form the realised strategy of the business. Having a culture that rewards the generation and execution of new ideas can help craft these emergent strategies. Some organisations don't plan at all. They feel that planning inhibits the adoption of new ideas and dissuades people from capitalising on unexpected opportunities. Organisations often adopt this approach if they feel that the environment is fundamentally unpredictable. This approach is known as freewheeling opportunism and would require the performance measurement and management approach of the business to be very flexible to new ideas. The finance professional can help with every stage of the rational planning process. For example, at the strategic analysis stage, benchmarking to the competition can highlight organisational strengths and weaknesses. Also, finance will often quantify the size of any gap between desired and expected performance. This will serve to quantify the target of any strategic decisions. At the strategic choice stage, finance can be involved in quantifying the likely impact of any ideas to see if they are suitable and feasible, for example by undertaking formal investment appraisal. At the strategic implementation stage, finance can turn strategic choice into detailed plans and budgets, define key performance indicators and benchmark what level should be achieved, as well as tracking progress with the performance measurement system and recommending performance management actions that need to be taken to keep the strategy on track. In summary, not only do finance report on the rate of progress towards achieving strategic goals, they also have a part to play in defining what the strategic goals should be by providing support throughout the strategic planning process. Make sure you know these models from your earlier studies and importantly apply them to enable an understanding of the performance measurement and management issues being faced.